The Seattle Seahawks have a brand new head coach. His name is Mike Macdonald. On this edition of Seahawks Today, we're going to hear directly from the 12s as they react to the hiring of Mike Macdonald. But before we do, we want to make sure you lock us in here on Seahawks Today for the latest happenings on your favorite team. When Seahawks news happens, we bring you a video as quick as we can here on the channel. Live shows, daily news and rumors, trades, free agency, the draft, filling up Mike Macdonald's staff. We're going to be all over it here on the channel. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. We'll get started with today's show. Leo with a $20 super chat. Bang! Says, who, in your opinion, is the best OC candidates that we should target? Man, there's plenty to choose from out there. When you talk about Mike Macdonald, T. Martin is going to be a name that comes up, who was on staff with him at Baltimore and is the quarterback's coach, was a legendary quarterback at the University of Tennessee. His name's going to come up. Cliff Kingsbury is going to be a name that could be very popular as well. A couple names that I had liked previously but have since taken other jobs, Zach Robinson and Kellen Moore, were possibilities, but we'll see. That's off the top of my head who I think Seattle could potentially target. We'll have a video coming up in the next few days with some potential OC targets for Seattle. Edward writes in, who's the now favorite candidates to be the OC in D.C.? We talked about OC just a moment ago. Let's talk D.C. now. I got to tell you, there's a few names in particular for the D.C. job that jumps out of mind. Think about this, okay? You have a young head coach. And it doesn't matter what league it is, the NFL, the NBA, college football, whatever it is. When you hire a young head coach, one of the things that typically happens is the head coach ends up hiring assistants with head coaching experience that have been there, done that can kind of show you how to be a head coach. And there's one very good defensive mind, specifically, that I think could be a very good fit for this Seahawks team to be their new D coordinator. What about Ron Rivera? Ron Rivera wants to stay in coaching. I know that it didn't work out for him as the Washington Commanders head coach. But what about making Riverboat Ron your DC? To me, that could be interesting. Pacific Northwest with a $20 super chat. Bang! Writes in. Now that we have our head coach, which do you think we'll get, a QB or lineman at 16 in the first round of the draftee? Pacific Northwest, thanks for the $20 super chat. I got to tell you, I think that the Seahawks, by drafting a defensive head coach, or by hiring a defensive head coach, are probably going to lean towards drafting defense in this upcoming draft rather than the quarterback position. That's kind of my suspicion, but obviously these things are fluid and can change. I would think they lean towards defense, defensive linemen specifically, to potentially fill that spot. But we'll see what exactly they do. But that's kind of the direction I lean towards, at least at the moment, as the Seahawks go defense. But maybe there's a quarterback that falls to them that they can't refuse. So we'll see. Who's the assistant coach the Seahawks should hire? Whether it's offense, defense, you name it, let us know. Who's the guy that you'd like to see be on staff for Mike Macdonald in Seattle? Weigh in the comment section and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS, for a $100 deposit match on your first entry. Choose two or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points, passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards. Maybe you want to mix and match different leagues, the NFL, the NBA, NHL, and more. This week on PrizePicks, I'm looking ahead to the big game. I got Patrick Mahomes to have more than half a passing yard. I got Isaiah Pacheco to have more than half a receiving or rushing touchdown, and Christian McCaffrey to have more than 35.5 receiving yards. If all three of these hit, and let's say I put $20 down, I'm making $100 on PrizePicks. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match on your first entry. That's PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS to play along with us today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, proud partner of Seahawks Today. Caleb writes in, do you think Mike will be able to transition to Seahawk play fairly easily and think it's going to take a minute. You know, I think he's going to come in right away and insert his will, establish his identity with this Seahawks organization and build the team the way that he sees best fit. And think about this, okay? If you were John Schneider, okay, taking this over for Pete Carroll, heading up football operations and everything, the easy decision would have been, we're going to try to keep this afloat and just do what we've been doing, right? We'll go get Dan Quinn. We'll continue to do things the way that we have and just keep the mojo that way, right? But John Schneider takes over and says, you know what? No, this is the guy I want. I want a fresh face. I want to start over and do things my way. And I would like to think, anyway, that after hiring Mike Macdonald, that John Schneider says, all right, John, or all right, Mike, now you go run the offense you want to run. You go run the defense you want to run. Go find the coordinators that you best see fit. If he does that, lets him run things the way he wants and not micromanages, I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be in good shape. Gerald Lewis writes in, does Mike Macdonald have the potential to turn this team around and make the Super Bowl right away? This team's still got a lot of holes, a lot of things to figure out. We look at the interior of the offensive line, for example, the interior of the defensive line. You need some help at linebacker, need some help at tight end. Got to figure out the quarterback situation. The Seahawks aren't far off, but they still have some stuff to figure out. I think it's realistic that this team should be competing for the division, and they've competed for the division the last 2 years. The next step for this team is going to be, can they take the division away from San Francisco? Can they win the NFC West? If they do that, then we can have the next conversation about being a Super Bowl contender or taking that next step. But to me, first and foremost, go try to win the NFC West, and then we can talk Super Bowl from there. Mark writes in, what makes you believe he will be successful when most rookie head coaches fail? Well, Mark, based on that logic, most coaches fail, not just rookie head coaches. What makes me buy into Mike Macdonald and what he's selling is not only just the fact that he brings an energy and charisma and is contagious, right? Not just those things that, a player-friendly coach that everybody likes. All of that I love. But everything we've heard, from who he's worked with, from John Harbaugh to Jim Harbaugh to Mark Richt, to the players he's coached like Kyle Hamilton, Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, all of them say that this guy is a brilliant football mind, that his concepts are out of this world, that he understands the game, that he develops talent, that he takes things to the next level, a natural leader, a guy that you can easily buy into. Those are the things that have me convinced, that make me believe that Mike Macdonald will get the job done for this Seahawks team. Mark, thanks for that question there. Got time for a couple more questions before we wrap up here on this mailbag edition of Seahawks Today. Let's get to this one from Ilya. Ilya writes in, do you think Mike Macdonald keeps Jamal Adams? I don't think Jamal Adams has come back to Seattle. I really don't, for a number of reasons. You look at just the way that he played this past year, was disappointing. He was a liability on the football field. I think that also when you factor in he's getting older, he's not Pete's guy. He doesn't have to be loyal to Jamal Adams on that front. And Jamal's attitude. Jamal was, he looked like a bad person last year. I hate to say it, but the way that he treated that reporter from New York and called out that guy's wife, and the way he handled himself off the field, I was disappointed in Jamal Adams. And I think it's best for all parties involved. They go their separate ways. Eat the money, move on, call it a day, move on from Jamal Adams. Spider Fan writes in, do you think we'll see any members from the Ravens coaching staff or Michigan Wolverines coaching staff join Macdonald's staff? Potentially speaking. Now, Mentor, who caught my eye, I thought would have been a good DC choice. The DC Michigan. He's going with Harbaugh to the Chargers to be their DC. So that's out of the question. But we've talked about T. Higgins. Weaver, who was on his staff there in Baltimore, he might be a name to keep an eye on, although he could actually end up replacing Macdonald in Baltimore anyway. But yeah, I think that's certainly possible. We could see guys from Baltimore or Michigan end up here. I want to ask you guys, do you like Seattle's coaching hire? This decision to go with Mike Macdonald, let us know what you think. Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in the comment section. Do you like the hire or not? Let me know. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seahawks Today. Subscribe to the channel as we have some exciting stuff ahead. We usher in a brand new era of Seahawks football led by Mike Macdonald. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did.